Tonight, you could jump into a pool and hold your breath. But your body cannot breathe underwater, not even for a few seconds without help. The strange part is that water contains oxygen. So why can't your lungs use it? Fish breathe underwater every moment of their lives. Humans cannot. The difference begins with one tiny structure. Your lungs contain millions of microscopic air sacs. They are called alveoli. These tiny sacs exchange gases between air and your blood. Oxygen moves inward. Carbon dioxide moves outward. But alveoli are designed for air. Water changes everything. Imagine trying to breathe through a wet sponge. The oxygen is still there, but getting it into your bloodstream becomes extremely difficult. Fish solved this problem differently. They evolved gills. A fish pulls water into its mouth. The water passes across thin gill surfaces. Oxygen dissolved in the water moves into the blood. Carbon dioxide moves back into the water. This sounds simple, but extracting oxygen from water is much harder than extracting it from air. Air contains roughly 21% oxygen. Water contains far less available oxygen. And oxygen moves through water much more slowly. That creates a serious problem. Your lungs would need to process enormous amounts of water, and your respiratory system was never built for that job. So why did fish get gills while humans got lungs? The answer reaches hundreds of millions of years into the past. The earliest vertebrates lived in water. Their bodies evolved around aquatic environments. Gills became incredibly effective at extracting dissolved oxygen. Then, some ancient fish began exploring shallow waters. Those environments could become warm. They could also become oxygen poor. Something unusual happened. Some fish evolved structures that could take oxygen directly from air. These structures eventually became important in the evolution of lungs. This was not a sudden transformation. Evolution does not work like flipping a switch. Small changes accumulated across countless generations. Eventually, some vertebrates became better suited to life on land. Their respiratory systems became specialized for air. And our ancestors inherited that basic design. Humans are descendants of animals that left the water behind. But our bodies still carry clues from that ancient history. Look at a human embryo. Early development includes structures associated with our distant aquatic ancestry. They do not become fish gills. Instead, they develop into parts of the head, neck, ears, and other structures. The past is still written into our bodies. But there is another problem. Even if you somehow put human lungs underwater, they would not simply work like fish gills. The lungs need air-filled spaces. Their delicate surfaces are designed for gas exchange with air. Fill those spaces with water, and normal gas exchange becomes severely disrupted. Water also increases the effort required to move material through the respiratory system. Your breathing muscles are not designed to pump water like a fish's gill system. So the problem is not simply missing equipment. The entire system is different.
Fish and humans solve the same problem in opposite environments. Fish extract oxygen from water. Humans extract oxygen from air. But oxygen itself is not the whole story. Your blood also needs to carry that oxygen efficiently. Inside your lungs, oxygen crosses a very thin barrier. It then binds to hemoglobin inside red blood cells. That oxygen travels throughout your body. Your brain depends heavily on this constant supply. Your heart depends on it. Your muscles depend on it. Every living cell depends on oxygen to release energy efficiently. That is why breathing feels automatic. Your brain constantly monitors carbon dioxide levels. When carbon dioxide rises, your urge to breathe becomes stronger. This is one reason holding your breath becomes uncomfortable. The feeling is not simply your body running out of oxygen. Rising carbon dioxide is a major signal pushing you to breathe. Your brain is essentially saying something is wrong, breathe. And underwater, that warning becomes especially important. Humans can hold their breath for surprisingly long periods. But holding your breath is not the same as breathing underwater. Some aquatic mammals evolved extraordinary adaptations for staying submerged. Seals, whales, and dolphins can store and manage oxygen very efficiently. Their bodies evolved for underwater life. Humans did not. We can swim, we can dive, we can hold our breath, but none of those abilities turns human lungs into gills. So could evolution ever give humans the ability to breathe underwater? In principle, evolution can produce extraordinary changes, but it would require far more than simply growing gills. Our entire respiratory system would need major changes. Our lungs, blood chemistry, circulation, muscles, and metabolism would all need to work together differently. That would take enormous evolutionary pressure over many generations. And there is an important catch. Evolution does not create what an animal wants. It changes populations through inherited variation and natural selection.
There is no evolutionary command saying humans need to breathe underwater. Unless underwater breathing dramatically improved survival and reproduction, there would be little reason for such a transformation to spread. So the next time you see a fish swimming calmly beneath the surface, remember something strange. The fish is not holding its breath. It is breathing. It is using an entirely different solution to the same biological problem. And humans are doing the opposite. We carry an ancient air-breathing system inside our chests. That system helped our ancestors conquer dry land. But underwater, the same system becomes a limitation. The ocean is full of oxygen, yet we cannot simply breathe it. Because evolution did not build every animal to use the world in the same way. Fish turned water into a source of oxygen. Humans turned air into one. And that difference helped shape two completely different paths through life.